Okay, so I am just finishing the last video. But I think I still want to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind recently. Um, so a little context. I this year have been reading through the Daily Stoic with my buddy Evan, and I've always really liked Stoic philosophy. Um, Ever since my buddy Evan introduced it to me in like 2023, 2024, and I bought Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and started reading just like one little excerpt. I think that's how you say that, like every night. And I was just like, this is fascinating to me because one, a lot of the things that I read in the Bible are very similar to what I am reading in Meditations. And also, the stuff that I'm hearing and thinking about is just really good advice. Um, so a lot of kind of what has shaped my worldview and sort of the way that I try to process events and just try to live my day to day life is from the Daily Stoic, or not from like the Stoic philosophy. So we're reading through that this year, and this year has been a sort of awakening for me because I went to a small private Christian school. And at that school, I kind of was in a bubble for high school, you know? And going from that to now being on a gap year and just spending more time in the real world, working a lot more, interacting with a lot more people who don't necessarily share the same beliefs as me, I really am just realizing how kind of enclosed my world was, you know? And the reason I say that is because I've been it's caused me to think a lot about of like what I believe, what's important to me, who's the person I want to be, stuff like that. Um and something that's kind of been on my mind recently is the idea of sort of protecting your perspective. And what I mean by that is this: if you think about the entire human race, like really think about it, the only thing that anyone else has over you is their unique perspective. You know? We all just have a unique perspective, a unique way that we process life, a unique mind that takes in information, decides what to do with it, and decides how to react to things in our world. And that really got me thinking because, like, that's very true. Like, sure, you could say, oh, someone has more money than me, someone's more handsome than me, whatever. That's all just individualistic things. That's just how we differ as people. And especially in terms of like materialistic things, that's just stuff that's all going to pass away when we die. If you really think about it, our perspective and the way that we process life really is kind of the only thing that we have that is our own. Like our own perspective, our own mind, our own ability to like have free will and make decisions. Like that's what I mean. Um and I've recently been thinking a lot about ways that I don't protect that beautiful like perspective because all of our own perspectives are beautiful. Like, if you really look at it, each of us has something important that we can offer to someone else. Something that we could say in an interaction with them that could hit them in a way that they just might need, kind of the ripple effect of life. Like, you say something to someone and, it kind of really affects their life in an important way, and you don't even realize it. You just kind of move on with your day. So talking about like our unique perspectives in life, I think it's very important to recognize stuff that can cloud our judgment, cloud kind of our perspective, and kind of cause us to shrink away from what's important and who we are as people, like who we really are. Like, not stuff that we do that doesn't necessarily reflect the people that we are, like who we really are, And I think one big thing is comparison. I think comparing yourself to other people is extremely detrimental because it causes you to not value what you have to offer to the world, because you're so obsessed about what someone else is offering to the world. And there's nothing wrong with taking influence from stuff that people have done from the world. People have been doing that for thousands and thousands of years. Like, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. That's what people say. I know I'm guilty of it when I think about my own inadequacies, and especially this year with some of the ways that I feel like I have not lived up to my expectations for the gap year so far. I still got plenty more time. I started to realize that the negative thought patterns that I was implementing in my mind, and all the time I was spending comparing myself to someone else, was time that could have been spent trying to seek out I'm trying to think of like a good way to word this, because when I make these videos, I pick a topic that I've been thinking about and I just talk about it. I don't really prepare that much, which maybe I will, who knows. But all the time that I spent comparing myself to others could have been time that I could have spent clearing my mind and doing something productive, or trying to change my thought patterns to be more positive towards myself, or not getting so caught up in ways that I haven't lived up to the standard that I want, that I end up not even attempting to reach out my goals at all. Another one I think is distraction. And I think it is way more prevalent in my generation and the world that we live in now, obviously, more than any other generation in the entire world. Like YouTube, like short form content, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Google Giggles. No, I'm just kidding. But there are so many things that are trying to vie for our attention and our time, and are trying to influence us in ways that benefit that other party. You know what I mean? But also, at the same time, we live in a time where information is more easily accessible than any other time in the human history. We live in a time where if you want to do something that's really passionate, you can make an entire living doing it online. The confines of like work, what information is, have completely shifted. because of platforms like YouTube and TikTok and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's really, really easy to get caught up in unhealthy usages of platforms like TikTok and YouTube. I know I'm really guilty of doom scrolling, and I always feel terrible. Well, after I doom scroll for like a couple hours, maybe even more, depending on, how deep I'm in it, it like you come out of that situation, it's like there's like a fog like on my brain. You know what I mean? Um it really it feels like that something has been stolen from me, which it has. My time has been stolen from me. Of course, I'm giving it to TikTok of my own volition. There's always a choice, but you still just feel robbed. You feel empty. You feel like shit, honestly. So that's why I think it's very important to, at least for me personally, to set aside times to where you can reflect on your day, take in information, philosophy, read a book, get out in nature, stuff that takes you out of these little like echo chamber bubble things that we're surrounded in information overload, and just take a minute to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, journaling about the Daily Stoic and doing my own journal every day has like become, or at least almost every day. I miss a day sometimes. I'm human. Like, has become my favorite part of the day, because allowing me to like think and reflect about my day, what my goals are, what I'm reaching towards, why am I reaching towards these things, really helps me to keep my head on straight. You know what I mean? It helps me to move forward. It helps me to make sure that my actions are not frivolous. There's a big thing in Stoic philosophy that talks about how action without direction is foolishness, but direction without action leads to no results. I think I quoted that right. It sounded cool. So, I'll just go with that. In conclusion, and I'm gonna speak for myself here. Be very aware and very vigilant about the stuff that you let enter your mind, and about how much time you're spending taking in information and stimulation that other platforms are feeding to you, rather than taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes to just breathe and just focus your mind, and to decide, do I want to be someone today who's going to sit on TikTok and scroll? Or am I going to actually allow myself to do the things that I really want to do? Because I know when I scroll TikTok and YouTube all the time, I'm like, I'll wake up and be like, this is not the person I want to be. I'd rather be playing my drums, or working on these videos, or learning more about audio production, or learning how to use FL Studio. Like, stuff like that. Like, so often we limit ourselves from doing the things that we actually want to do, because we just allow our perspective, and we allow our minds to become so clouded. Like, I literally do it all the time. Like, I am like the worst person when it comes to this. But, self-realization is always like the first like step to change. You know what I mean? And I'm really trying to like not let myself be so distracted, because like usually if I like really let myself get so distracted, I end up like getting pretty depressed. Because I'm just like, man, what am I doing? I'm just fucking being a bum and laying around and doing a whole lot of nothing. Or I'm like, or I'm like, what's the word? Sorry, also I know I'm like really red. I get red when I talk because I like get excited. Um, or I just like end up acting in ways that I don't like because I'm just distracted, you know? And I don't like that about myself. And I wish I didn't do it, but I'm trying not to, you know? Trying to be better. You know, all we can do is just give our best. That's it. It's crazy like how fast 16 minutes can go by when you're just like ranting about something. You know what I mean? Um I didn't plan on making this video about this topic tonight. I thought I was going to do it another day. It was a topic I had in my mind, but I was just like, man, I finished that music video. I'm feeling good. Run it again. You know what I mean? But yeah, keep your mind safe, because that's the only thing we have is our mind, truly. The mind controls the body. It chooses how we react to everything. So yeah. Thanks for watching.